Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Low Key J, and I'm back with another story time video for you guys. This story is gonna be about the time that I was pulled over while high on some cocaine, and I got away with it with a warning. So let's get into it. This story starts with me being at work. So at the time, I was working as a valet for a pretty high end hotel. Like rich ass people would stay at this hotel. And pretty much the entire shift, I was snorting the cocaine. I had cocaine before I got to work. And while I was at work, I ended up having some more delivered to me by my plug. So I had three different plugs when it came to the cocaine. So one plug had completely shitty cocaine. Another plug had cocaine that would sometimes be shitty and other times be amazing. And I had another plug I had who would always have like good shit, but it wasn't amazing. So the first two plugs I mentioned, they were able to deliver, but the third plug you had to go to him. And just so you guys know, the plugs you have to go to usually have better shit. It's not always the case, but based on my experience and what I've seen, I know this is probably like anecdotal, but based on my experience, the plugs that you have to go to have better shit. Plugs that deliver, and I mean, sometimes the shit can be like off and on. So the cocaine I had when I came into work was from the second plug, the plug who would sometimes have shitty coke, and sometimes have amazing coke. And I tried hitting him up while I was at work, but he wasn't responding. So I had to go with the first plug who had the shitty cocaine because he pretty much responded right away. And I knew this dude, had shitty coke, but I would always pray that it would be better this time around. Like maybe he got like some new product or something like that was better. I honestly should have just stopped copying off of him until he got better shit, because I wasted so much money with him only to be disappointed every single time. Like his cocaine was so shit that honestly sometimes it wasn't even fun. Like sometimes I would be like, yo, like I'd rather be sober than feel this shit. But yeah, so fortunately at my job there would be periods like where I would have nothing to do. There would be like no cars that would come for me to valet park, so like meeting up with the plug was easy. I would just have him go park in the hotel parking lot across the street, and I would head over there just telling my coworkers I'm just heading out for some fresh air. And once I saw his car, I would pretend I was doing like a sweep of the parking lot, and then I hopped in his car. So I would pretend I was just checking all the cars in the parking lot, and then once I saw his car, I would hop in. And since I was at work, it was like a pretty quick interaction between me and the plug. I dapped him up with the money in my hand. He had the product on the inside of the door of the car on my side, so I would grab it, say farewell, and then he would just drive off. So after I get the product, I make my way immediately to the bathroom at my job and just start chopping up right away. I snorted a couple lines, and then I came out the bathroom like a person high on some decent cocaine. I mean, the coke this dude gave me this time was actually better than usual, but it was still kind of shit. The high would only last like 10 minutes, if that, and I would have to continually go to the bathroom again and again and again and again. I was going to the bathroom so much that, like, I was getting paranoid I was getting paranoid thinking that my coworkers were noticing me go to the bathroom so much and that they would say something. And also every time I had to valet a car, I would be paranoid that the people could tell I was high. It took me like 10 minutes just to park a car because I would be second guessing how close I was to hitting something every single time. Even though I had a backup camera, I just wouldn't even trust the backup camera. I would have to get out the car, like go behind it and make sure that I wasn't going to hit anything and shit like that. It was absolutely crazy. Like the paranoia was crazy. And then after I parked the car, I would do some coke in it, and I would be so paranoid that someone would see me. So I kind of just stopped doing that after a certain point. The paranoia with this coke was like ridiculous. It's like I wasn't even getting high at a certain point. It was just a line of straight paranoia. Shit was not fun, and my coworkers definitely knew what I was doing, or like suspected that I was doing cocaine, because like I said, I was going to the bathroom so many times in an hour, like so many times, like every 10 minutes I was going to the bathroom. And finally, my work shift was coming to an end. I texted the plug I had to drive to about an hour before my shift ended, telling him I wanted a cop, and if he would be free when I got out of work. I wanted to make sure like it was scheduled for us to meet up. So he said yes, and I told him I would text him when I get out of work and when I'm on the way. And I wanted to get some more coke, because the coke I was doing from that plug was such a letdown. I mean, it was a waste of money and a waste of time, and I needed to redeem that bad coke by doing some good coke. So I snort my final lines of the bad coke a little bit before my shift ended, and then I hopped in my car. I put my dealer's address in my GPS, and then start making my way over. And I was driving all paranoid and shit. Like, fuck, I hated this cocaine. Like, why the fuck did I keep doing that shit, knowing that it was like complete ass, and knowing that it would just make me paranoid as fuck? Like, why would I keep doing it if I knowing that was going to be the feeling I would get? Like, it was, but I mean, it was all I could get at the time, so I just took what I could get. I just really took what I could get. So anyways, I was still driving, and like the GPS had me take a route where I was driving down the wrong way on a one-way street. So I turned left onto a main road from the one-way street, and then immediately I saw blue lights flash up behind me. I pulled over and turned off my car. I was feeling super nervous, but not as nervous as I would have been if I still had the cocaine on me, obviously. Like, I felt so relieved that I finished all the coke before I started driving. The only problem was that I was still high on the coke, and I couldn't have this cop realizing that I was high on cocaine. That would have resulted in me getting arrested and getting a DUI. And a DUI is not something I wanted to have. Like, I've talked to plenty of people who have had DUIs, and it's not a fun thing to go through. So I quickly look into my rearview mirror to see if I have any white stuff in my nose. I didn't, so I was good to go. And I also checked my eyes to see if they were dilated, and nope, they weren't dilated. So that was good to see. And I bet they weren't dilated because the coke was so super shit. And I was just thinking, like, hopefully I don't fuck this up by acting nervous, and like hopefully the cop doesn't realize that I'm high on coke. So the cop pulls to the curb right behind me, and he exits his car with a flashlight in his hand. And as he's approaching me, he shines the flashlight into the back seat of my car, where he saw a bunch of empty alcohol bottles. Says, "What's going on tonight, sir? What's with all the empty alcohol bottles in your back seat?" And I'm like, fuck. In my head, I was like, fuck. I completely forgot I had bottles back there from the past weekend. I was out with my brother and a few friends, and I was the only one with the car, so we all just drank in my whip. And I told the officer exactly that. I said that those alcohol bottles were drank by my friends over the weekend. I don't think he believed what I was saying, even though I was actually telling the truth. So he asks for my ID and tells me to step out of my car. I comply with his directions. He brings me over to the trunk of my car and does that like test that cops do when someone is drunk on alcohol. Like, not the walking in the straight line test, but the test where they tell you to like follow a pen with your eyes without moving your head. So he puts the pen in front of my face and just starts moving it from side to side, and I follow with my eyes to the best of my ability. And I keep getting paranoid, thinking I'm going to fail and that he's going to know I'm high. I definitely had some performance anxiety. I was struggling, trying not to move my head, because in the test, you're not allowed to move your head. You just have to move your eyes. And I ended up actually fucking up a couple times and moving my head, but fortunately, I did pass the test. And then he made me do the walking in a straight line test. And again, I was paranoid as fuck because I'm like thinking like, oh, I hope I can do this. Like, am I actually walking in a straight line? Blah 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 blah. Like performance anxiety like through the fucking roof. So I do start walking, doing the straight line test. I walk as straight as possible as I can, and finally, I eventually passed the test. Like, fortunately, because I was overthinking it so much. And you know, sometimes when you overthink something or you put too much effort in something, you end up like doing worse than if you were just like, chill and calm about it. But fortunately, I passed it, even though I was thinking that I was probably going to like fail or do some stupid shit. So since I passed the two tests, the car officer lets me get back into my car because clearly, I'm not drunk on alcohol or anything. I told him I just came from work and all that shit. So he gets me back into the car. He gives me like a little warning or something like that. He tells me that I need to get my car inspected because I only had my car wasn't inspected for like 2 years. So I had like the wrong sticker that was on my windshield. So he told me to make sure I get that done, and then like he said some words to me and blah blah blah. He went to his car, did the cop shit, came back to me, gave me a warning, blah blah blah, and then he let me go on my way. And actually, like, while I forgot to mention, while I was sitting in the car before with the cop behind me, I ended up texting my plug saying that I just got pulled over and all this stuff, and he just texted me back saying good luck, and I said I'll let him know if I'm still coming. So I grabbed my phone while I'm in the car, and the cop's still behind me, and I just passed the test, so I'm free to go. He says, right? So I text my plug, and I'm like, yo, I'm all good now. Like, can I still come over to you? And he was like, yeah. So I start driving off, and then the cop drives off too, and I start getting paranoid, like thinking that he might follow me. Like, I'm about to go cop some drugs right after I just got pulled over by the police. As I was driving, like, I see more police and stuff like that. I was super paranoid. Like, fuck this cocaine. This cocaine is literally like just paranoia, bro. Like, paranoia. It's not even like fun. It's not even euphoric. Blah blah blah. It doesn't even make me social like that. It's just paranoia, straight paranoia, and it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. So I'm driving on the way to the plug's house. I see a few cops. I'm like looking in my rear view mirror. I'm looking at my side mirror, trying to see if there's cops following me. And finally, I like pull up to the plug's house. It was like a quick drive. I think it was like 5 minutes or less or something. Pull up to the plug's house. I wait for him, outside. And actually, I wait for him at somebody else's house. It wasn't actually his house. He would come and walk to like another house that was close to his house and then hop in my car. So I was at the address that we usually meet up at. I pull up, pull up to the side on the curb, and I wait for him for a couple of minutes, and then he comes into my car and hops in. And at the end of the street, there's literally a cop just like sitting there surveying the area and shit. Like, at all the way at the end of the street, just a cop car parked and sitting there at the end of the street. So we had to make this look like, hey, I'm just like picking up a friend to like bring to my house, or we're gonna go out or something. If he just like hopped in my car and then just like hopped out like 2 seconds later, obviously that would look suspicious to a cop, and they would probably think that it was a drug transaction, which it was. So he hops in my car, and like we end up driving down the street, like pretending that I'm just picking up, and then we take a right. We drive down another street. We pass the cop, and then we take another right, and then I pull up to the curb. And in this area, there was no cops. The cops couldn't see us at all. So I pull up, and then he hops out and starts walking back up to his house. So I finally got some decent cocaine, and I'm like, yo, shit, yo. I'm like, I'm geeked. I'm geeked. I'm happy as fuck that I got this new cocaine, this good cocaine, because I know his shit's always good. His shit is always good. This plug was one of the best plugs I ever had in my life. His shit was always some good shit, some quality shit. It wasn't like amazing, but it was always it was good. It was good shit. So I finally got the coke. So I just open it up right there next to the curb that I dropped the plug off at. and I just start chopping up like a little line for myself, and I do a little line, and bam, like I'm all set. I'm geeking. I'm feeling good, and I'm like, yeah, bro, yes, bro. Like this is redemption right here, cause I just had the shitty Coke. Now I got the good Coke. Like now, like hey, like I'm all good and I'm geeked. So I drive back to my house. I get to the crib, and I just do the rest of the coke just like all night and just have a really, really great time. So that's gonna be the end of the story, guys. Hope you enjoyed. It was pretty crazy. There was a lot of paranoia in this. The cop could have been a lot more mean to me and all that stuff. Like he could have did way more stuff to me. I could have got arrested, could have got a DUI possibly, but fortunately I didn't. So yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video that I make. Peace out.